Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well today. As far as 2025 goes, this was a great year for content creation, between smashing through channel milestones, beginning live streaming on Twitch, and being in my first collaboration. But 2026 is going to be a bit more mixed, so let's talk about it. First and foremost, let's get right to it, because it's time to say goodbye. To my starter mic. When I first started making videos, there was a lot that I didn't know, so when it came time to pick out a mic, I blindly took advice online and wound up with a condenser mic, which I now know is quite possibly the worst choice I could have made for my recording environment. Second paycheck into 2026, I'll be buying a new one, and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door will probably be the last video recorded on the old mic. But the big upgrade is because of the other big piece of news, a new job. For a good while, I've been working from home, and it was so easy that I was working on videos and sometimes even live streaming while still technically on the clock. But the pay was mediocre, and I knew that with cost of living, if my rent suddenly went up and then maybe my car finally kicked the bucket, that I would start bleeding through my savings. I made a good call to start searching early, because less than 3 days after getting a notice that my rent was about to go up 38%, I got a new job, and it is by far the biggest pay increase I will ever experience in my life, so crisis averted. As an added bonus, I actually like what the job entails, and it's a pretty good work-life balance so far, which means that I can finally say that getting a master's degree paid off. But I still have a lot to learn, and working in person again means less time to work on videos, so especially for these next 3 to 6 months as I'm getting into the groove of things, I would definitely expect a pretty slow output, and that's coming from someone who already only puts out about 1 video a month. I am still pretty optimistic though, because I genuinely enjoy making videos. I love seeing comments about how it's helping people master their sets. I've gotten a lot more efficient with editing with enough practice, and I am considering hiring someone to work on one video while I tackle another to get videos out a bit more consistently, but no official plans on that, though the person I have in mind is already on the same page with me as far as rates go and what we're looking for in a video, and they aren't just going to put out a bunch of TikTok transition vomit, so no worries there. So long term, who knows? Things might feel about the same if not a bit faster, but naturally my real world obligations are always going to come first. But the side of content creation where I expect less of a drought is going to be on Twitch. A year ago I would have told you I have no intentions to stream. But fast forward to today, and to my surprise, I actually kind of like streaming a bit more than making videos. And I do like making videos. Of course, with a new job, that means my weekday streams will be a bit later, so I do apologize in advance to my European viewers, especially because so many of you helped me make affiliates so quickly that I never had to worry about zero viewer jail. But between every Friday being a half day, me getting every single weekend off, and me having more paid holidays than ever before, there will still be plenty of earlier streams, so don't worry about your sleep schedule. If you even have one. So looking past the adjustment period, let's look to the future. After the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door video, it makes sense to have my first video with a new mic be my very first video game as a kid, Super Mario World. Then from there, the priority pool of videos to work on before the Wii launch event is going to be Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Tooie, and Mario Kart Double Dash. Obviously no guarantees I'll finish all 3 before the event launch, but once the event starts, it's anything goes for what comes next. And realistically, the priority will end up being minimizing how long that the Wii footage stays on my hard drive, because to put file sizes in perspective for you, I lowered my capture settings a bit for F-Zero GX, and 4 hours of footage is about 140 gigabytes. Meanwhile, my 30-something hours of footage for Pokemon Blue came out to about 42 gigabytes. So with over a dozen Wii games on the way, I expect most if not all of my 5TB hard drive to fill up. Then for streaming, with Minish Cap Mastered, Sacred Stones being on the tail end, and F-Zero GX being down to almost just the interview questions left, the big priorities after that are going to be Pokemon Crystal and Sonic Adventure DX. So if you want your name to appear in a video as either a Pokemon or a Chow, make sure to tune in. If we happen to master all that before the Wii launch event and we have time to spare, we'll look into adding either Alundra or Metal Gear Solid. I'm also going through Digimon Time Stranger as a non-retro achievements game, and I'm having a good time with it so far. Not sure if I'm going to make that a video on this channel yet, but if I do, I have to play through it twice for 100% anyways, so I'm not really worried about recording it for now. And speaking of not recording for now, as of this moment everything on my profile and everything on my mastery wall is something I intend to make a video on, but in the future there may be a few titles where I think it's better off just as a stream exclusive, or something to personally enjoy offline. But when that does happen, there's going to be pretty understandable reasons as to why. Take the Phoenix Wright or Zero Escape trilogies for example. I think that those games are just better off being experienced blindly in the moment. Or if I end up playing a fighting game and then the meta ends up being spamming the same 2 or 3 attacks over and over through the entire set, then it may just be better to keep those as a series of VOD highlights at best. And the final piece of news that I'll give is that even though I'm emphasizing managing expectations for this year, more RA Tuber crossovers are confirmed. And I'm not talking about Pokemon either. But with who, you may ask? Well, that's a secret for now. Which means that's all I got for this video, so thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what Wii games you're most excited to play this year, and I hope you all have a wonderful 2026.